Welcome to the Movies of the Damn podcast. My name is Kyle Grant, and I'm sitting here with my friend and published horror author, John Hunt. If you enjoy what you hear here today, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, and follow us on both Instagram and Twitter, at Damn Movies. Email us any questions, comments, and suggestions to moviesthedamned@gmail.com. For further details on John's published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Today, we'll be discussing Todd Phillips' 2019 film, Joker. The movie follows clown for hire and aspiring stand-up comedian Arthur Fleck. Arthur constantly struggles with mental health issues as he tries to find success in the world while taking care of his elderly mother. He is finally pushed over the edge after being fired from his clowning job for bringing a gun to a children's hospital, learning his mother isn't actually his birth mother and that she allowed him to be badly beaten as a baby, and having his favorite late-night host, Murray, make fun of his stand-up. During an appearance on his show, Arthur has Murray introduce him as a Joker, confesses to a triple homicide, and shoots Murray live on air. The movie ends with Arthur locked up in Arkham Psychiatric Hospital. Just to let everyone know, we have Ethan back today to give his thoughts on this one. Really excited to hear what he has to say. But first, as always, John, opening thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, so I saw this in the theaters relatively soon after it released, came out. And watching it, I really, really enjoyed it. I was kind of blown away by the acting in this film.
Yeah, this was a very good movie. And I'd love to say that I was also there right away at opening night, but just because of life, I have a newborn at home, I just wasn't able to get to see it. And it was just killing me that I hadn't seen it yet because I was so excited for this. I love Todd Phillips. I love Joaquin Phoenix. I'm like, I need to see this movie. And it just took so long for me to actually get to the theater, but I finally made it. Pretty much had the theater to myself when I went there because it was so long afterwards. But I did enjoy this movie as well. Like you said, John, great acting. Ethan, I can only assume you have good things to say.
Yeah, acting is great, but I also want to talk about the lighting, the cinematography. I thought it was gorgeous, expertly well done, and it also was used to reflect Arthur's mental state at the time, right? So whenever he's feeling like crap, it's really low, dark, deep shadows, kind of like film noirish lighting. But like when he's dancing on the stairs, it's bright, shining, like, and there was it just looked amazing. The color schemes and everything was fantastic. I think that deserves more recognition than it's getting.
And I think that brings up a good point because as I was watching this movie, I had this feeling constantly like they are in Gotham City. Like it just like felt to me like Gotham City was supposed to feel. And so that probably has a lot to do with what you said there, Ethan, with the lighting, with the cinematography. And I actually didn't pick up on the lighting changes kind of corresponding to Arthur's mood, but that's a really interesting point. John, did you see that?
Well, so only because I've been watching movies with Ethan, right?
Okay.
So before I do notice that stuff. So I would notice, like, sometimes they'll blur the edges when it's a dream sequence. Like I did notice all that stuff before, but in this one is more prevalent with in relation to his movie. It almost felt like, even though it wasn't, it almost felt like the whole movie, it was dark, gloomy, and raining until he had his Joker epiphany. And then it became bright, and the sun came out, and he did the dance. You know what I mean? It just
because he figured out who he was, who he wanted to be.
Yes. So, which exactly what Ethan said. It corresponded with everything, like in just the way the lighting went when he was confused. Like it was all different, and it was all done to convey that feeling. And yeah, I would agree that was really well done.
Very well done. And can't say enough good things about this movie. Like honestly, like when I watch a movie, sometimes things just like catch my eye right away. The one thing that caught my eye is Joaquin Phoenix's appearance. It looks like he lost like a ton of weight for this movie. Like he committed to this role.
Yeah, he lost a lot. He lost so much that like doctors were worried about him and they couldn't do reshoots because like he couldn't be that skinny for too long.
I actually heard that they couldn't do reshoots like
Yeah.
because of how his appearance and how much weight he lost. Like that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And just like looking at him, like that appearance gave me the point of view. I'm like, yeah, this guy is sick. There's something wrong with him. Like he just completely transformed himself. I can't say enough kind of like cool things about that. But kind of from the start, the one thing about this movie, and obviously I have to be critical. I have to be critical about every movie we watch. I did find it a little slow off the beginning. Like I was interested the entire time, but I did find it kind of took a little while to pick up. Now, Ethan, I know you've seen this movie multiple times. Did you feel that at all or no?
You kind of contradict. If you were interested, then how could it be slow?
No, I think you can. I think it can be both, right? It can be a slow-paced movie that you're still interested in.
Yeah, well then how is that a critique? Like I watch slow-paced movies all the time, but I'm interested as hell, so I don't find them slow at all.
Okay, fair enough. So I guess it isn't a huge critique yet. John, did you have any issues with the pacing or anything like that?
No, I think it was designed to build upon the character of Arthur Fleck transforming into the Joker. So I didn't have a problem with that. You wanted to show how invisible he felt, how powerless he felt, how not in control he felt. And in order to do that, you kind of have to show depressing, sad, slow-moving scenes. But once again, I was completely interested the entire time. Like his acting in this, I don't even know what to equate it to. I haven't seen.
Oh, he's one of the
anything.
best actors out there right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't know another performance that's similar to that. You know what I mean? That blew me away that way. Whereas like I was watching it, going like this. It didn't even seem possible.
I hope he gets some award nominations for this, but you never know, right? For a
You never know.
superhero type movie, right?
But it's like it's not really. It was just exploring the myth of Joker, but I would say the whole superhero aspect, like that you're normally seeing, like Avengers or anything like that, is not even there, right? It was
No,
not
it's
even
much
there.
different.
Yeah, it's so. I think it could be evaluated on a different template than just another comic book movie. You know.
The one part of this movie that I kind of disliked, I threw my hands up in the air, but then in the end it ended up blowing my mind as an amazing twist, I'll call it, is when he kind of starts to have that relationship with the neighbor.
Yeah.
And he's stalking her. He's following her around.
Yeah.
She realizes that he's following her, confronts him, and then she's just like, yeah, cool, I'll go on some dates with you. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what? That's so ridiculous.
I had that thing too. There was a couple moments in this movie where I was just like, are you kidding me? Right? Like with that part, and then when the note that said like he's Thomas Wayne's son, I was like, are you kidding? Like, come on, that's so stupid. And I thought, but then they flipped it around. It was like they were trying to get you to be like, this is gonna be crap, and then they flipped it around because I was so happy when she wasn't real, and I was so happy when he wasn't Thomas Wayne's kid, because it would have ruined the movie for me if he was either of those things.
Yeah, I just thought it blew me away, that twist that they actually hadn't been on the dates, and then they kind of flash back to that scenes where it's like previously you'd seen him talking to her and then it's just him talking to himself.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so well done. I didn't see that coming at all. Did that surprise you at all, John?
No.
Oh, you saw that coming?
Yeah.
Really?
As soon as she showed up at his comedy show, I'm like, okay, this is not happening. He's making this up.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's just with the character, her character, it just wouldn't. No. And not even that. You just knew he was delusional. You knew he was looking for something to boost himself up. He was looking for validation in belief in his own comedy, and he wasn't funny. They made a whole point of him not being funny, and like they drove that home the entire time. So her showing up and supporting him at the show, I'm like, no, this is wish fulfillment. This is something that he's not seeing. And then also I was talking about this earlier with Ethan as well, with the Thomas Wayne twist. I'm like, there's no way. I knew that wasn't real at the very beginning, because there's no way that anyone would allow that to happen. Like, I don't think the producers reading it would be like, no, I'm gonna go okay that Joker and the Batman are stepbrothers. Like
Or half brothers.
Yeah, or half brothers, right? Sorry, that's right, half brothers. And so I'm not going to okay that. No one will okay that. The comic world would lose its mind.
Okay, but I was still confused on that at the end. So maybe I misinterpreted things, like, because I thought the kind of on that story arc, the fact that they brothers, are they not brothers? At the very end, he looked at a picture of his mom, and on the back of it, Thomas Wayne had signed it.
Yeah.
I thought that was an indication that they did have a relationship.
Well, no. I mean,
I can't remember what it said, but it was something like "You're so beautiful" or something like that, and then it was signed like T.W. Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I remember but I honestly think that was either A, something he made up, or B, something for us to discuss about.
Okay, so you think
there's no way he's Thomas Wayne's kid.
Okay, so you think that was just possibly a figment of his imagination, John,
Not his. I think it was a figment of hers. Like, she set up the whole
Oh,
story
she signed the back of that picture. Oh.
She's done everything that she could to convince herself that they had a relationship. She doesn't like the entire movie with her in the background, he's going to save us. He's going to bring us out of poverty. Like, she created that entire storyline, convinced him of it. And so she created the props as well to support it.
Okay, and that makes sense to me because I was completely on board with both of the things that you were saying, that like they're not actually brothers. But then I saw that when you see that last picture, I'm like, is it actually like? And so that's what just confused me.
Yeah, no, I think that was just put in there to show how far Mom went in order to support her delusions, and two, it's to also show the Joker's reaction to him looking at it, going, it doesn't matter anyways. This is all pointless, and because that's what he comes back to is right, complete nihilism. Right, doesn't matter who lives or dies. None of this matters.
Yeah. And John, you had said that he wasn't funny. I gotta argue with you there. I thought that one scene was hilarious when he's in the children's hospital and he drops the gun in front of everyone, and then he does like the big comedic like, shh, like don't tell anyone, kids.
You're correct. So that he was accidentally funny.
Yeah,
he didn't mean to be funny.
And then he tries to
write that into his.
And then he plays it off with everyone. Oh yeah, that was just a prop I used. I just used like a prop as a gun as a prop in like the children's hospital. I thought that part was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good. I would agree with that. That was funny, but once again, he didn't mean to be funny.
So as we were kind of talking about his mom's belief that Thomas Wayne and her had a relationship, and that Joker was Thomas Wayne's son. What did the two of you think of, I'm going to call it, a change in how Thomas Wayne was portrayed? In all previous movies that I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's kind of portrayed as kind of like this good figure, almost like a savior of Gotham, like one of the richest people, had a big business, employed a ton of people. And in this movie, he actually had a bunch of screen time where he came off as like a condescending jerk, like almost like a parody of what a lot of like rich people are like. Like, how did you feel like that? Because that was a character change from what we've normally seen, was it not?
Yeah, that's a good thing. You should try to change up characters. Did it with Joker. I didn't get that feeling at all. I thought he was more I thought he was more taking a stance against the people on the Kill the Rich, or the Kill the Rich parade, right? Because he on the news, he's like, he's talking about how they were wearing a mask, and he's like, well, it's good. A coward would do that, right? And he's mad that they murdered 3 people on the subway, and he's mad about that, right? And honestly, I'd be pretty pissed too.
But then what about the scene in the washroom when Arthur confronts him there?
Yeah, that made complete sense to me. Even if he was the nicest person in the world, this guy showed up at his house, touched his son's face, and now was trying to tell him that he's his dad, that he's his son, and is being a complete dick. Like, yeah, I totally see that. I'd punch him too. Like,
okay, so then that didn't bug you at all, Ethan. John, what do you think about what I'm saying here?
Okay, so when we watch Batman Begins, and like you said, any other Batman film, Thomas Wayne is seen as an altruistic, philanthropic person.
The best that Gotham has to offer.
Right? Just a good person who happens to have a lot of money, and he tries to use that money to help others.
Better the community, better Gotham City.
Absolutely. So I have two thoughts on that. Completely different than the Thomas Wayne that we saw in the Joker. I agree with you.
Okay.
I thought he was not as kind or generous as he's been previously portrayed.
He felt very cold.
Well, I would say, but I'm also on the same page with Ethan. Like they made him into almost a real person, right? The other ideals that they had before, and I know why they did it, right? So to have Bruce Wayne look at someone as this is the ideal person, and he was lost to a senseless act, and I'm going to avenge that for the rest of my life, right? So I get that. So that's why they did it with the other films. But with this one, what they were trying to do is to show, well, I don't know what they were trying to do, but what I got from it was there was a clear disparity between the uber rich and the poor. Uber rich did not care about the poor, and I don't know if Thomas Wayne in this one actually cared about the poor, if he just more cared about politics.
That's the feeling I
yeah,
got.
so that's what I mean. So I felt, and I think they were just using that as another wedge to throw in there for Joker to go along his journey to become who he became.
Yeah, to kind of like push him over the edge, so to speak.
So this is the last thing. Like he's looking at, okay, this is the last good thing that I have. This is a good, important man. He's my dad. He can help me be a better person. He can help me be successful in life. He can help other people see me because he doesn't feel like people see him. He feels invisible. You get that sense.
Well, everybody treats him like garbage.
Yeah, and even only when they acknowledge that he's there, right? For the most part, he's inconsequential. So now he's the son of a famous man, a rich famous man, and that could make him seen. People will see him now. So that's taken away from him. So I thought that was the device there to say, this is your last chance. They yank it away from him, and now he's going to descend into where he's going to go.
And John, that's making a lot of sense what you're saying there. Still on the Thomas Wayne topic, I want to get both of your opinions on this. Ethan, we'll start with you. Did you feel that it was needed to have that scene in there with the whole the scene we've seen in a million movies before, Bruce Wayne's parents being murdered? Did you feel that
no.
they needed to cover that in this movie? It just, to me, it felt like it didn't fit.
No, it 100% didn't fit. I'm sick of seeing it. We get it. His parents have died. I wish, you know what I wish they did? You could do have the exact same effect and not even have to show it. Just show the guy follow him into the alley.
And then just cut away.
Just cut away.
That's a good idea.
That's all you had to do. And I would have got the point. And I'm sick of seeing, him breaking the pearl necklace and like them being like, I was so sick of it. Like I've seen it 15 times by now, just in live action version.
And I get your point, Ethan, because it has been done before. We've seen it a million times before. 100% agree with you. And I'm on board with that. But I'm also, like I've already said a couple times, I just didn't think it fit with the tone of this movie. This movie is about Joker. I didn't feel like they needed to have that Bruce Wayne stuff in there.
I would say they definitely didn't need to have it in there. I would agree with that. However, that they put it in there and the way that they put it in there, all I'm trying to think of is like, why did they do that, right? Not everyone, even though it'd be weird, but not everyone who went to this film knows the Joker and the Batman background. And
that would be weird,
right? No, but it's true. There are some people.
Okay.
So it's like, at some point, you never knew about Star Wars, right? But then you did, right? So that's the same thing with this. There could be teenagers or even younger kids. I don't know why they would go to this film, but there could be new, like a new generation of audience coming in that don't know about it.
Okay.
Right? So then you kind of have to tell them, right? Maybe not in this film. I don't think it fit in this film. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think when they do put it in films, I'm sick and tired of seeing it because I know it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there are people that do not.
No, and that's a valid point too. That's a good point against that. Another thing in this movie is that there was some gruesome scenes. The one that pops in my head right away, and like as I was watching, I'm like, I can't believe this, is when the two, I want to call them his ex-coworkers, show up to his house, and he ends up killing the one with scissors, and like the stabbing is so close that you see like the splattering of blood like on his freshly painted face. Like I'm like, this is wild. Like, Ethan, what did you think of that scene?
I was so happy.
Yeah, because
I
that guy was a jerk to him
so-
the entire time, right?
No, I don't care. I don't care that he killed him.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy that we got to see Joker gruesomely murder someone.
Oh, okay.
We hadn't seen it like that. I love gruesome violence. You know, I love it.
So
I know. Look at his. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. It's just so cool to see like the Logan movie. You know
yeah.
That's like one of my that's my favorite like Marvel movie.
Oh, okay,
other
very
than
cool.
Spider-Man 2, like the Tobey Maguire one. Like those
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
like my favorite Marvel movie because it's R-rated, it's gruesome, it's violence, it's awesome. And what was great about the gruesomeness in this movie is it built up.
You're absolutely right, because that scene that I just described was kind of near the end there.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the scene where he's on the talk show and he ends up killing Murray, which, by the way, and maybe I'm out to lunch here, I did not see that coming. I didn't see the movie ending in this way, that he was going to sit there and murder Murray. I didn't see that. I thought he was eventually going to get caught for the triple homicide, and maybe that's why he was going to be locked up. But I didn't necessarily see him sitting there and shooting Murray.
Really?
Oh, you saw that coming 100%?
Oh yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
John, did you see that one coming too?
Yeah, I saw it, but only in the way that for me, I felt that was the only way for it to end. So how is the Joker going to influence this many people? He has to appear on TV, and he has to do something gruesome to do it. So I thought that's what it was. I didn't necessarily know he'd shoot Murray. I thought he might have shot audience members or anything like that, but I knew something terrible was going to happen on that stage.
You could just feel it, eh?
Yeah, well, it only makes sense with the context of the whole theme, right? So like if it didn't do it that way, it'd be like weird, right? So you'd have to be like, either way, he's going to be on camera doing something gruesome to influence a lot of people.
And what did you feel about that scene that I just described with him killing his ex-coworker?
You know what? I
Made you cringe?
yes, for sure. I'm not a fan of gratuitous gruesome violence, and I don't think Ethan is either. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I will say that for that type of gruesome violence like that, it's dark, it's gritty, it's realistic, and that's what this movie was trying to get across, right? So I thought it fit with the film.
I did too, and then I loved the tense moments afterwards, where the other coworker's still in the room,
Yeah.
and Arthur just like basically just being like, you were the only one who was nice to me,
Yeah.
but basically thanking him for that, but then still messing with them. Like as he goes to leave, he's kind of like lunging at him a little bit, and then like he can't open the door, so Arthur has to go open the door for him. Like that was so tense to me. I love that scene.
It was a great scene, and I can't say enough about how well this fits with the Joker, right? That I see, right, or that I've read about for years and years and years, right? He is at that point where it's almost like he got to that point where nothing is real, so whatever I do, whatever impulse I follow, it doesn't matter, and because nothing is real and nothing and chaos is actually the only thing that we can trust in. That's what he does. He creates chaos and he sees what happens from that, right? And he tries to do that. There's no real rhyme or reason. So he knows that his coworker friend's going to run from that apartment and call the police. He doesn't care, right? It doesn't matter what happens if he gets arrested or stopped. He's not really thinking of escaping. He's just thinking of, this is all random. It doesn't matter. And so it fits with that Joker that I've always seen. And I was such a huge fan of that.
Very interesting, yeah, and it is kind of how I imagine the Joker as well. Is that the same with you? You, Ethan, is this your Joker? Is this what you always pictured him as?
What's great about the Joker character is he can be portrayed in 1,000 different ways. So this isn't necessarily who I always pictured, but I loved how it was done. Right, like Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and this one, they're all vastly different. Right?
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That's what's so great about this character. He can be portrayed in 1,000 different ways.
One person that you left out there, Jared Leto.
No, I agree with Ethan on that, but there is but I would say there is a baseline of or certain characteristics of the Joker that must be present in order for it to be a valid representation of him, and that's what I was trying to get across.
Oh, okay.
The chaos, the nihilism, and the nothing really matters aspect needs to be there, and they were there in all of them.
Yeah,
right? But I think in this one, it was portrayed in the most gritty and realistic fashion.
Interesting. That's very, very cool.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's what I love. When I say I love gratuitous violence, what I meant was I love the realistic kind of
Gritty, like John said. Yeah.
gritty stuff. Film noir is my favorite genre, right? So I love gritty, realistic, kind of down in the dumps kind of stuff, and that's what this movie offered. It was great.
And I can see why it's your favorite, because when it's done well, it is done well. It's very, very cool imagery, like very powerful, like John just said. Here's something I want to bring up to you guys. I want to see what you feel about this. Rotten Tomatoes, little all over the place. So critic scores at 69 and audience scores at 89. So kind of like a little bit of a variety there. Now 69 is still certified fresh. It's still a thumbs up. 69% of critics liked it. But I would have thought it would have been a little higher than that. Do you think it's the gruesomeness? Is that why it's a little bit lower?
It's because they think it's making a statement on social commentary. They think it's making a statement, so now they have to not like it.
Oh, so you think people went into it being like, I'm going to not like this movie?
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. On Rotten Tomato, on Roger Ebert, right? He's been dead for a while, right?
Yeah.
But one of his reviewers, this one dude, I can't remember his name, but the reason Roger Ebert was so good is because he didn't base a movie off its deeper meaning or social commentary. He almost never did that, right? He'd mention it, but he wouldn't be his reasoning for giving it a rating. These writers on his new website writers, that's all they do.
Oh,
So even before you click on a movie to read their full review, to have a one sentence thing, right?
Kind of like a little summary, headline.
Their favorite sentence, and the sentence for Joker was, as social commentary, it's pernicious garbage.
Oh,
he's not even talking about the movie. I read the review. He barely mentions the movie. He's talking about the social commentary, and it's annoying when they do that, because you're not talking about the movie. You're assuming what the director was trying to get across. You should never judge a movie off that. That's like,
because you might be wrong.
Yeah, that's like judging the ice cream based off the smell. I don't know. It's just so stupid.
No, I get what you're saying, John. What are your thoughts?
I agree with that. I think that assessment is very accurate. You got to look at it this way: like, what were they judging? Were they judging what was on the film? What were they judging? What they were watching? No, they didn't comment on that at all. They didn't comment on the brilliant lighting. They didn't comment on they did comment on the really good acting. They did, but you know what I mean. They didn't judge it on its actual merits. They didn't say, okay, what's the criteria that makes a great movie? They didn't set that out beforehand, and then they didn't go down that checklist, which is what I think you should do if you're going to be objective and being paid to review movies, right? So I was a little disappointed with that, but I don't even understand, what did they think they were going to go see?
Yeah, like you knew it was going to be this dark, gritty background story of the Joker, right?
Absolutely. Like everyone knew that. Like it's going to be a realistic representation. And what do you know with the Joker? What we know about the Joker is that he's going to commit evil,
heinous crimes.
He's going to commit terrible things. He's going to do terrible things to terrible people, and it's going to be glorified. You know that, right? And then that's why you have the Batman as the hero to taking him down, to show that, you know, evil doesn't pay, right? Where this one, there's no Batman to show that, but it's
a background story.
But it's the background story, and it was I thought it was done brilliantly. Like the scene after he kills those people on the subway, and he goes into that washroom. Oh my God! When he does that little dance in the washroom in the mirror, like that was like the perfect distancing from reality that I've seen, like it portrayed any time. And the acting was phenomenal. Like I normally get my arm hairs raised when I get scared or whatever. I've never had that happen watching someone act, and my arms, I was like, what the? I was blown away.
That's wild.
I loved it.
So then I'm, as you might guess, I'm closer with the audience score here in the high 80s, if not low 90s, and I'm guessing that's the same for both of you guys as well, obviously.
Yeah, I'm around like 85.
Okay,
probably.
So about mid 80s, but still higher than the critic score.
Oh yeah, no, critics, like sometimes I trust them, sometimes I don't. I definitely do not trust them on this movie because they're I don't even know. They're just
and you guys covered
thick skulls. Like
and you guys covered it perfectly. I couldn't have said it better myself. John, are you closer to the high 80s, low 90s, mid 80s like Ethan?
So I'd be closer to the high 80s. So like I'd be right around the audience score, I would say. The only any real criticism I have about this, like, so once again, the directing, the lighting, all that stuff, very, very well done. But as a story itself, And they really couldn't have done too much with it, right? You have to follow a certain template with the Joker story, right? As a story itself, it wasn't really exceptional, really, right? It's just more like, this guy is about a guy who is lonely, depressed, and
Spiraling out of control.
Right? Like you've seen it in like variations of it anyways, in like Taxi Driver. What was that other movie with Michael Douglas when he was going, remember that one where he was wearing that, he had a buzz cut and he had that really bad day. He was like going around beating up people.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the
remember that
title. I
one?
know exactly what you're talking about though.
Yeah, I don't remember it either, but it's one of those, right? So it's a normal person who's pushed over the edge.
Just lost it.
Yeah, right? So Joker wasn't normal by any means. Yeah, so in either way, right? So there's just someone going over the edge. So the variation, that theme has been done before. So as a story point, it wasn't truly exceptional in that way. But the presentation, man, out of this world. Presentation was brilliant.
And it's been highly successful. So the research that I did said the budget came in anywhere between 55 and 70 million, and as of the recording of this podcast, it's broken the $1 billion mark worldwide.
It's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that. Yeah. And against that production budget, it also became the most profitable comic book film of all time. But as John, you kind of mentioned earlier, that's a little bit misleading because this isn't the same thing as like an Avengers. There's no real superhero. It's a dark backstory.
Well, they're taking into context the marketing, right? So they're going to spend a lot more marketing on the Endgame. Joker was mainly marketed on social media, which is free, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't spend a lot on marketing whatsoever.
So that probably saved them
that's
some
why
money.
that's why they can profit $950 million or something like that. When Endgame probably wouldn't even profit that much because they got to pay all the actors, they got to pay everyone.
Oh, huge budget.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and the budget, and also I'm guessing they got paid based off the gross, not the budget itself, because Robert Downey Jr. made $75 million from that.
Oh wow!
So they're not going to take that big a chunk out of it. But I'm so happy Joker's grossing this much, man. I
want to see more movies like this.
Yeah, exactly that. I'm kind of still surprised that they still have to fight the production companies with this. Todd Phillips had to fight them on this, and he's just like, I'm still surprised. Like, R-rated movies, people love them, man. People love them. They keep going to go see them. Why do you still have to convince people to make an R-rated movie like this? It took 13 years for them to make Logan. It took 10 to make Deadpool, right? And they still have to. But hopefully that they see it as R-rated movies are awesome. Make more of them, and hopefully it's a bit middle finger to all the critics that didn't like it. The billion. But
John, your thoughts?
I know why. They're just trying to balance it out, right? So it's like if you make a movie R-rated, you just cut your audience pool in half.
Yeah,
right? So no, I know you do know that. But so all I mean is that people throwing money in, the people that are investing, who are the producers, they want the biggest ROI, right? The return on their investment. That's what they want.
Because it lowers their risk.
Right. So in order to do that, you want a broader audience base. So for them, they don't really know. Like, a lot of people believe in a project and think it'll make a lot of money, but no one really actually knows. So if they go in there going, okay, I'm going to give you this money, but I don't want it to be R-rated, because I want a better guarantee that I'll get my money back, because I don't know if this movie will be successful.
And so that was the story of Bohemian Rhapsody. So originally with Bohemian Rhapsody, Sacha Baron Cohen was set to star and direct in it, but he wanted to make it like true to Freddie Mercury's life, like R-rated.
Yeah.
And just like you said, the company's like, we're not willing to take this risk.
Yeah.
And so they went in another direction, right?
Yes. But I think it's starting to show that it's not much of a risk anymore.
Yeah, because
right?
people will support it.
Yeah. If it's something, me and Ethan were talking about this, if something is really good, people will go see it.
Yeah.
No matter how many people or influencers are trying to say, don't go see this, or this is bad, or whatever, if it's good, people will go see it. So you don't have to really worry about all that other stuff.
Interesting. One last thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and I have no idea if this is true or not. This could be completely BS, but I did read it online that Jared Leto pushed to have this movie canceled.
Because I read that online too.
Because he was upset about the fact that he was promised a standalone Joker movie and he didn't get it. And Warner Brothers actually pushed for him to star in this, but Todd Phillips wanted Joaquin Phoenix. So you said you heard that, Ethan?
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know if it's true. I would believe it though. I wouldn't really be surprised, but I only heard it off like one news site. Right?
Okay.
So.
And who knows, they might just be trying to create drama. The other interesting thing about this film is that they refused to play it in the Aurora, Colorado movie theater, where the 2012 mass shooting occurred during a screening of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, people were freaking out because they thought this movie was going to inspire others to commit crimes. And I'm like, how many times do we have to go through this, man? Movies do not influence crime. So it's
people make their own choices. I agree with you.
100%. If a normal person is not going to walk into that theater and walk out a maniac, that's not going to happen, right? If they go in and they come out and murder people, they were going to do that whether or not they saw that movie.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Well, Ethan, John, anything else to add on this one? Any final commentaries on Joker?
Nope.
I think we covered this one.
Good movie. If you haven't seen this, even if you have a young child at home like me, find the time. Go and see it. I don't know about that one. Maybe if they can't see the screen. Well, folks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and follow us on both Twitter and Instagram @DamnMovies. We want to hear what you thought of today's podcast and any suggestions you have, especially in terms of what movies you'd like us to discuss next. Send us an email to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. Please also check out John's full-length novels. His first two novels, Dollhouse and The Tracker, are Amazon bestsellers. You can also order his novella Balance, his book of short stories, 4 Shots of Horror, and his newest novel, Off the Grid, right now on Amazon. For further details on John's other published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, everyone. Thanks again for listening and tuning in. If you get a chance, please leave a rating on whatever platform you happen to be listening on. Other than that, have a great week. Be kind, everyone.